Hi, welcome to This Week in Data, your guide to modern data culture, brought to you by Pragmatic Works. I'm Adam Jorgensen.
And I'm Devin Knight. And in today's episode, we're going to learn about what do you do when you need help? So when you get stuck on something, what is your next steps? What do you go on to do? But let's start first with some news. So I got some news for you, Adam. I'm curious if you've seen some of these stories or heard about them, if maybe they're interesting to you. The first one comes from a patent that Apple did. It's a new patent that they have that is basically a device to be able to shut down your camera on your phone.
Oh.
So the idea or the context of this would be you're at a concert or you're in the movie theater to prevent you from recording or videoing.
So piracy, avoiding that kind of thing.
Yeah.
I'm kind of against that, Devin. I mean, I'm actually pirating this episode right now with my phone. So I don't know about that.
I'm going to send you a cease and desist.
Okay. All right. So I see how this is going to be. Drawing the line.
Yeah.
I think it's good. I think we need the ability to do that in confidential situations, but there could be some concerns about censorship and that type of thing. So
the thing I could see happening is, okay, well, what if someone else takes a hold of the device to be able to block your camera, and all of a sudden, no matter where you go, you can't use your camera. So I could see some flaws there as well.
Yeah, it's interesting. We'll have to see, how they roll that out.
Yeah. All right. So the second story I have for you is about one of our favorite sports, the NFL.
Oh, I'm so glad football season is back.
Yeah, you're a big Dolphins fan.
I am.
I'm one of the two Jaguars fans, and so there's a story out that technology is becoming more and more involved in the sport. So in the past couple of years, they have surfaces on the sideline. In the past, what they've only been able to do is look at still images on the surface.
Right.
And so one of the things that they're looking at doing, they're only doing it in the preseason right now, so it might be something in the future that becomes more regular, is looking at video of what actually happened at the play. So on the sideline, the quarterback throws an interception. He comes back to the sideline, looks at what happens, and sees, oh, I threw an interception, but really I should have thrown it to this guy in the post. That would have been a touchdown. Comes back to the next play.
Did you choose interception as your example because you're a Jags fan?
Yes.
Okay.
Because our quarterback had tied for the most interceptions last year.
To be fair, they had a pretty good scrimmage game last night against the Jets, so I gotta give them credit. I think it's really interesting to see. I think it's so overdue, right?
Yeah.
I mean, in a world of all the different things we can do with technology now.
Yeah.
That they can't actually see exactly what the quarterback is seeing at all times.
Yeah,
right?
that's interesting.
I mean, they should be able to go. He's looking at the wrong person.
Yeah.
All of it, and be able to do that. I think. I'm very against things like performance enhancing drugs and all those kinds of things. Technology is the advantage for so many of these organizations, and it's cool. It's very exciting.
Yeah, what's interesting is some of the coaches that were more old school were very, very against it, while others were, oh yeah, this is great. Why aren't we doing this already? Kind of your opinion.
Right.
Those
people are right.
Those people are right. They share my opinion, so clearly they're right. The last story I have for you here is GM unveils this new technology to prevent basically child deaths in cars from overheating. Kids that have been left in cars, and basically the idea of it is if you go to put something in your back seat, you open up your back door, really for anything, if you put like laundry back there, something like that, it sends you an alarm into the driver system, so you know, hey, you need to make a quick check to make sure that the child's been taken care of as well. So
interesting.
Kind of there was stats on this where there was 24 child deaths this year. Real bummer to end on the news here.
That's terrible.
But they're trying to work on some kind of technology. I don't know if this is the right way to do it, but some kind of technology to do it.
I think everything helps, right? I mean, awareness. Yeah. Anything where it can be helping to remind you, and anything that we can do to make that situation safer. I think that's great. Yeah, absolutely.
So that's our news for today. What we're going to do next is get into our main topic for today, which is all about what do you do when you need help. So, Adam, what are we going to talk about here? What are we going to go through here?
There's so many different opportunities that come up during the day, no matter what your role is, where you're trying to either decide between two options, or you don't really know how to get forward momentum on a particular project, or you don't understand something. And I think what we want to try to do today is talk a little bit about maybe how you and I have approached it in the past, and then give some suggestions, and then start a discussion in the comments about how we as a community get help and what kind of resources are out there and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, we'd love to hear from you guys what you're doing to get help, especially if it's something that we don't even bring up. So what's our first discussion point here?
Well, I think the important thing is, how do you actually approach getting that help, right?
Yeah.
What are some of the most common things you can do to go get help?
Yeah, so some of the things I do, obviously you have hopefully people working with you, coworkers, hopefully. There's always the overall IT janitor that does everything.
Right.
But for many of you have some others that work with you. That's obviously one place you can go to get help.
Right.
You could also go ask the community. So at least within the SQL Server world, the data community, there's a big presence in the community where you can actually go and ask somebody for help. So that's a big area as well. And then of course you could pay somebody to help you. There's ways you can do that as well, obviously, to be able to get the help you need.
Hopefully your coworkers are not.
Hopefully the coworkers don't make you pay them.
They're not saying, Devin, I'm happy to help you. That's $20. Hopefully they're helping you.
Yeah.
Spirit of teamwork, camaraderie. Let's not get any ideas there.
Well, and that's one of the things too you got to think about too is your coworkers, right?
Right. So I mean, how do you go to a coworker without being a pest, right? So, it could get annoying. I'm asking you the same kinds of things 5 times a day, that type of thing. I mean,
are you speaking from experience from me asking you questions?
No. That could be annoying, but you know what I mean. It can get a little overwhelming. So how do you think we avoid that?
Yeah, I think, anybody that's learning and is new to things, you're always going to learn things better when you figure it out on your own.
It's true.
Right? If you spend some time and you struggle through it and you're able to at the end say, yeah, I figured this out on my own, then great. But at the same time, you have to balance that with the value of your time, the value of your company, the feelings about your time.
Right.
And so it is okay to ask your coworkers for help. And I know a lot of people that are hesitant to do this because they don't want to seem like they're that nuisance that's constantly asking for help. And so kind of my rule of thumb, and maybe you have some different way of thinking with this, but if you spend more than 30 minutes on something, you spend very focused time, you try and figure it out on your own, and you spend more than 30 minutes and you haven't made any progress at all, then it's probably time to ask somebody for help. If you're making a little bit of progress, then okay, that's one thing. But if you're just roadblocked, can't go any farther, then probably time to ask somebody for help.
I think that's fair, Devin. I mean, we're all so many people I know, so many professionals I know, they have that drive. They want to figure it out for themselves. No, I'm going to figure it out. I'm going to get it. I don't need help.
Right.
And, sometimes as guys too, I think we're a little, a little bit more, maybe not even a data problem, right? We're just fixing a tripod and, things like that, right? I think that, you got to recognize when you're not making progress, right? If the goal is really to get the thing done.
Yeah.
And not for you to be able to say, I did it all myself. Right. Then, take a time range, 30 minutes, an hour, whatever it is, but make sure it's reasonable, and then go ask for help.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so what else? What else do you think?
Well, I think it's interesting, you talked about the community. We know there's so many different aspects of the community to get help. So where do you see people going most often in the community to get plugged in and get some help?
Yeah, there's a lot of places that you can go. So one is if you have some form of local user group around. So if you work in a town that has a user group, you can certainly go there. They probably meet on a regular basis. Go speak with them. They probably have gone through the same problems that you have at some point in their life. So that's a great place to go and speak with others that are already doing what you're doing.
And you can find those user groups on like SQLpass.org, meetup.com. Yep. So there's lots of places to find groups that are meeting, that are doing the kinds of things that you're trying to do. Right. And even if you're getting into something new, it's a great way to get plugged in to get support from the start. Yeah,
absolutely. And another great place too is forums. So MSDN forums, of course, are a great place. You have Stack Overflow, you have SQL Server Central has great forums. There's a lot of places you can go that have forums, community sites or Microsoft sites that have people that have probably asked the question that you have. And if you haven't, if you can't find the question you've already asked, ask it yourself. Yep. And you will likely get some form of an answer. You'll probably get a lot of answers. And they'll give you some ways where you can start moving forward and figuring out what else to do.
I saw a comic online the other day that said, programming will soon be renamed Googling Stack Overflow. Because, you're right. There's so many people that go to those places to really get plugged in. What about just online? What about our social channels? Do those work?
Yeah, they do actually, especially within our community, especially is very social driven. You hear the whole SQL family. They're very focused on being able to help others. And so that's a great place to start. Go use things like Twitter. If you don't have a Twitter account already, even if you're not a big person, a big social social media person, it's really helpful to have a Twitter account, not only from the perspective of hearing news of what's going on with the technologies, but also to be able to ask questions and get help.
Yeah.
A big hashtag that people use when you need help is SQL help. So use SQL help if it's a SQL Server problem. You can get a lot of good information there, a lot of help that people are really eager to help you solve the problem that you have. So, of course, it's difficult in 140 characters sometimes to be able to do that. So what's some of the next things we should consider?
Well, if we don't have the community, if we're not getting what we need from the community, maybe we have a higher level problem.
Yeah.
We need an expert, right? Or we need an answer right away.
Yeah.
Right, where we can't wait for a response on a forum or something like that.
Right.
We kind of get to that last option, which is trying to find somebody we can pay, an expert, somebody to come in and partner with us and solve a problem. So what are some of the smarter ways to do that to make sure you get what you need?
Yeah, I think it really depends on the depth of your problem. So if you're trying to solve...
I have deep problems.
You have deep problems?
So let's work on those.
Technical problems. Not personal.
I also have those.
But yeah, if you have a rather deep problem that you're trying to dive, say, I'm trying to build a data warehouse, you can't get an answer to that question in 140 characters.
No.
Or a forum for that matter. So
you might get an answer, but you might not like it.
Yeah. So, consulting is a viable option.
Yeah.
Bring in a consultant. Pragmatic Works obviously does consulting. We do a lot of different types of variations of consulting. So if you have a problem that you're working with, it's a data problem, and it's a very large one that you're not going to be able to get a simple short paragraph answer to, a consulting engagement is a good way to do that.
Yeah, that's true.
Now, if you have something that's a much shorter problem and you're just not getting help in the other forms, then things like virtual mentoring, which is a service that we offer.
Right.
Which is a very smaller scale consulting engagement. It's not like we're coming on for multiple weeks. It's
an hour or two.
Yeah.
One person to one, the kind of thing where, I can't get this package to run the way that I want it to.
Right.
Or I can't solve this problem with my reports. Or I'm trying to deploy this and it's not working. Or something finite. And, Devin, the other points we made are really important because whether it's a consulting engagement, virtual mentoring, or what have you, even if it's just free help from your coworker, it's much more effective when you've taken a couple of these opportunities and you've probably learned a couple of things. You've learned what won't work. You've learned what will work. And so funneling that in will make, not only the best use of maybe your coworker's time, but also maybe your investment in consulting or virtual mentoring. Right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you've spent the time in, like you said, you've now found out what absolutely won't work, what we can move on to, that sort of thing. Yeah.
So they do have a challenge that they need help focusing on. How can we help them get plugged in?
Yeah, so if it is a short-term thing like virtual mentoring, you can certainly reach out to us. You can find out more information about that at pragmaticworks.com. But like you said, it's a very quick consultant in my back pocket. I need some help for a short period of time. You buy a bucket of hours, and then you're off to the races. Within 24 hours, we'll have somebody that can help you out.
We have special, small, pocket-sized consultants.
Yes, literal.
They actually,
you pull them out.
They go right there, and they're right there ready to help you. So it's a special thing that only Pragmatic Works can bring to your solution.
Well, we're curious what you guys do for help. So if you have some different strategies for what you do whenever you need help, let us know in the comments section so that we can add it in and we can write about it as well and include it in some maybe future video.
Yeah. I'd love to know what are the things you find yourself asking for help about the most. I think those are interesting trends to see. Where the community and where maybe the product documentation or those types of things aren't providing enough help or clarity.
Right.
And I think that would be great. As a group, we can come together in the comments and share some resources and help everybody get going right from this video.
Absolutely.
That's awesome.
Absolutely. Well, thanks for joining us again for This Week in Data. We'll look forward to seeing you next time.
Bye-bye.